T. Will or T. Wellen? Man, this is something that was brought up by a former Cowboy receiver who talked about who was asked a question about Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. Pretty much what he said was that Jalen Hurts is just a runner.
Stop the cap.
Dak is the best of both worlds.
Stop the cap.
So my question to you, and Mark, you know I'm coming to you first. Who was the better quarterback, Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts?
Okay, Jalen Hurts had a Jalen Hurts had a great year last year. He had a good year. But I mean, when it comes to being a quarterback, it's more about consistency than 1 year wonders, you know. So as of right now, I'm still taking Dak Prescott as better than Jalen Hurts. I mean, as a quarterback, throwing the ball and making all the right reads and everything like that, I'll still take Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts. Even though Jalen Hurts did have a good season last year, but like Case Keenum did, he did it for 1 year, didn't repeat the next. I'm not comparing. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, we got a new member. Sorry, didn't mean to stop you, but I gotta stop you now. Tomo, the other guy on the show, has now become a member. We put the pressure on him. We was like, hey, I'm one, Joe's one. He's like, all right, you're not leaving me out. So now Tomo's a new member. So shout out to Tomo. Appreciate you, my guy. Not here today, but another member. So let's go, Tomo. Let's go. And of course, he would do it now because we're talking about a cowboy right now, and he has a commander praising a cowboy. So that's why he did it. But go ahead, continue what you were saying, Mark.
That was really the gist. It was just that Jalen Hurts really just have to be another season. I need to see something else. I need to see more. That's all. He had a great season though. My hats off to him. He did good, but I'll still take Dak Prescott right now.
Okay, Coach, what do you think? What's your basis? Who do you think is the better quarterback?
Let's see. So I'm gonna take this to the past. We're gonna go back a little bit, and there was a segment we had with Joe and the dude for the Philly podcast, and we talked a lot about this with Jalen. We talked more about Jalen Hurts and what was expected of Jalen Hurts going into last season, right? And I brought up the comment, if Jalen Hurts gets this team, even at least to the Super Bowl, is that good enough that you have to pay him? With something so substantial. I brought that up. And the thing is, between expectations and getting the job done outside of the Super Bowl, he hit every single pointed number. And he did it in his third season?
Yep, third season.
Where has Dak Prescott gone to in his third season? Now, let's fast forward a bit. Dak Prescott got hurt. We all got sad. Everybody talked about, was he good enough to get paid? Was he good enough to not get paid? There was a lot going on with Dak Prescott. And then he tried to pop his ankle back in, but we all knew that was a done deal. You're going to be on the sideline for a little bit, guy. And it had to be all hail Dak Prescott when he came back. And it was. And he did nothing. Again. Then we go into another year of Dak Prescott, and you got to play Tampa Bay twice. You had to play them the first year of your return, had an outstanding game, and you lost.
Bruh.
You come back the second year, and you did not have a good game. I think you got hurt. Oh, yeah. You got trash thrown at you by your own city at home. They threw trash at you over your thumb. And now is Cooper Rush going to be the new guy for this team? Because we go through this with Dallas. It happened with Tony Romo when he replaced whoever he replaced, and then Tony Romo got replaced. This is the funneling of quarterbacks that happens in Dallas. The only thing that's kept Dak Prescott at the quarterback position is the guy that's on the backup has not done enough to take over. I'm sorry. Point blank, period. They have done enough to allow Dak Prescott to keep his job.
Hold up.
Gotta say hold up because we got a super chat. Shout out to Teddy. We got a super chat now. All wow. All hell Brady. Hashtag start spreading the news. Hashtag do your dog. Do your job. Hashtag humbly. Teddy, I don't like the fact that you do this every single time when I have to talk. I know I'm starting to feel like you do this on purpose now. But it's all good. It's all good. Continue your synopsis.
Now as we we go through this, we gotta watch the hip dancing Dak. We got a lot of things that we see about Dak. One thing we don't see nothing past the second round. And Jalen Hurts did it in his third year. I mean, I get it. He had all the pieces around him. Okay, so he used them. He did it the right way. Okay, like it's not like Jalen Hurts came in and did not do what was asked of him. He did what was asked of him. I mean, what are you complaining about? He threw for 66%. He threw 66% on the year. That's pretty damn impressive when the top quarterback threw for 67, and that was Patrick Mahomes. Mind you, this was the lowest quarterback rating percentage we've ever seen out of quarterbacks because it was the lowest in touchdowns. It was the lowest in completions. It was the lowest in yards. It was low this year, everywhere, across the board. So now you got to look at where you are in that lowness. And Jalen Hurts is number 3. He threw for 3,700 yards. He had he only had 22 touchdowns. I think that's going to pick up this year. Okay, but he only had 6 turnovers. He didn't turn the ball over a lot. And he doesn't have to because why? Same as Lamar Jackson. If you're a dual threat quarterback, use what is best for you. You're not going to have quarterbacks like this throwing these certain passes down the field when you're using both parts of their body. You're not just using the upper torso. That's why you can make Brady and other guys like that throw 30-plus yards a game, 30 times a game. Their upper body torso is meant for that. When you have a dual quarterback, you have to scale things back for them because the field of vision needs to be a certain way for them to execute properly. That's all you need. That's all you need. And for only throwing 22 touchdowns, let's not forget, it's not like he was being overly aggressive when he didn't have to be. They had the number 1 rushing offense. There's a lot that came with this team collectively, but what Jalen Hurts did was his job, and he got to the Super Bowl and then got paid more than Dak Prescott. His value as a football player is more than Dak Prescott. He's better than Dak Prescott.
I mean,
the fact that he only has 22 touchdowns, he has 22 touchdowns and went to the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott got what? Hell, 23 touchdowns and 15 turnovers. By the way, 15 turnovers.
Yeah,
he damn near close to 30 for 30. Jameis Winston, if he keep playing.
That was his first year. I mean, what about the year?
23 and 15, he's pretty close. 23 and 15. 23 and 15 is pretty close to him having 23 for 20.
I want to jump in now.
I
gotta say something. That one. I mean, I gotta say something now. So as far as Dak Prescott and his interceptions, he has not been known for a high interception guy. Now, he has had a few seasons where he's thrown for 10 plus interceptions.
10, 12. He kept it
but
there.
If you look at on average,
plus touchdowns.
He has one season where he only threw 4, one where he only threw 8, and another one where he only threw 4. So I'm not going to put that on him saying that he's a high mistake guy. I don't expect him to throw for 15 interceptions again.
No, I don't think. Yeah, me neither.
Now,
I think that came a lot with the offensive coordinator, like what they were doing offensively.
Now, when we talk about the two quarterbacks and we compare just them two about how they play, I think there's a possibility that Jalen can possibly be more dynamic because of his running ability. He's shown this year that he can throw the ball because remember going into that season, there was a lot of question about him being able to be accurate and just to throw the ball. Period. They said that he wasn't that good because the year before, even though they did get to the playoffs, they struggled to get there. He only threw 16 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Not that good. And Mark, I'm surprised you didn't say this. It was kind of similar to what Danny Dimes did this year, because Danny Dimes threw 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But with everything they put around Jalen Hurts, he took advantage of that and did go to the Super Bowl. But I want to bring up a comment that Tomo had put up there, and he said, "Name the quarterbacks Jalen had to beat in his playoff run compared to Dak." And I honestly forgot about this point, but this was something that was important. Now, Jalen Hurts this year, with this past season, went up against Daniel Jones, Danny Downs, who just got a good contract, $45 million. Praise to him. But do we really believe that he's a $45 million quarterback? I'm going to say no. Then, in the NFC Championship game against my San Francisco 49ers, it was against Brock Purdy, who was on a hot run. He got injured in the second drive of that game. And then right after that, Joe, you didn't have to do me like that. You didn't have to do me like that. Then right after that, he's the quarterback that replaces him. They just picked up from 7-Eleven. You know, he was literally just working at 7-Eleven before he got on the roster. So
the dude was sipping the icy, man.
And in those playoff runs that Dak had to go against, it was against guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady that you named, Russell Wilson. So that's the quarterback comparison. Now, this is where I agree with Mark. I think it's a little too soon. Yep, Jimmy Garoppolo. It's a little too soon just for me, and this is not to say that Jalen cannot be better than Dak Prescott, because I think it's possible. But I believe just because he had one, and it was a great season. Don't get me wrong. It was a great season that he had last year. 3,700 yards. It was 22 passing touchdowns, but it was more than that overall. Only 6 interceptions. And his, looking at my notes, his passer rating was 101.5. Great. All-pro season. He had a really great season. I just want to see him do not the same exact thing, but be just as good this season. If he's just as good this season, all right.
Yeah, if I see the same numbers, you're absolutely right.
I'll say if he does the same numbers, there's no question to me.
Yeah, your Dak is better than you because at least Dak can put up 38 touchdowns in the season if he really had so. And don't get me wrong.
Just the season before, Dak threw for 37 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and he had a 104 rating. Did we forget
that was supposed to be his year?
I mean, you can't. And then on top of that, it's just like even with Jalen Hurts, he had a great season, but Dak Prescott is like I
honestly think Dak is on the decline.
Just last season.
That's why I'm putting Jalen over him now.
Beautiful last.
But Joe is also making
last season. He went and had the number one offense going into the week 16 to 17.
Yeah.
So I mean, Dallas was still doing it up and then on top of that, in the playoffs, even the Super Bowl, I feel like was Jalen Hurts' most impressive arm throwing game. Like just throwing the ball, his most impressive game.
That was a great. He had a. I feel like even though he had a great season, I feel like the Super Bowl was Jalen Hurts' coming out party. I really believe that was coming out party. That was the best game he had all year, and he did it in the biggest stage. So he balled out in that game.
And what he did was he showed that he would not say consistent. I'm not going to use the word consistently yet. What he showed was his ceiling is he can be a passing quarterback in the league.
Yeah,
but
and he went up against
how many quarterbacks keep running the ball.
What I'm saying is, where I'm with you, Mark. Where I have to agree with you for his elevation to be over Dak, because I'm putting him there now based off what I see now. For me to have it solidified, I do need to see more passing and less legs this year. I.e., I need to see you use this with your arm more.
See,
more.
I don't think that's me personally. I don't think that's necessary if it doesn't help you win.
Definitely.
Well, right, and that's well.
You have to think about this though, because remember, and I'm not comparing these two quarterbacks, but remember what RG3 did. Remember when RG3 it was the Redskins at that time, and after he had a great rookie season, that very next season he wanted to pass the ball more. What happened? It did not work out that well. This team is constructed for him to be able to pass and run. You don't want to take away his abilities, so allow him to do whatever he needs to be able to win. If it's mixing it in, great. If he happens to have to throw the ball more, all right, then he has to do that. But don't force it. Don't be like automatically boom. You got to.
So what I'm going to say is, if this is going to be the staple of his offensive makeup, then technically his average will probably never be over 30 in touchdowns as it pertains to passing touchdowns collectively. Because what I did not add in, I said he had 22 passing touchdowns. I didn't add in his rushing touchdowns because he had where are you at? He had Number 3, Jalen had 13 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
So collectively,
he
he killed it.
35
Technically, total touchdowns, he killed it.
Yeah, he 35 touchdowns altogether
Total.
and only 6 interceptions.
Total.
He had a great season.
Exactly.
So that's
So
not. That's
now
not,
you look
that's
at
not
it
close over
dually,
that.
right? So dual quarterback wise, when you look at it, yeah, that actually has to be his average for him to stay
Yeah.
an elite quarterback. Actually, yeah,
Yeah,
that actually has to stay his average now.
If he throws for, let's say he throws for 25 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Throws for 25 touchdowns, 3,800 yards, and
10
he runs for 8 touchdowns. That's 33 touchdowns he accounted for. And he doesn't throw more than 6 interceptions. You can't say that he's not better than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right.
And Joe made some good points as
He's
well.
doing a lot more.
Joe made some good points. In the 2 losses that Jalen Hurts had, he went up against Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Brady is considered the greatest quarterback of all time, and right now we all know Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. So that's one thing right there. But
he also brought up Jared Goff and somebody else, and hell,
yeah, but in that game that he played against Jared Goff, Dak actually had a good game. His defense had let him down in that game.
Oh, absolutely. Because they both of them.
So now, there's a lot of other things that go into that because Dak also lost his best receiver, Amari Cooper, because the Cowboys were stupid and traded him for like a 4th or 5th round pick. That was retarded, and put CD at the 1. I mean, CD is a really good receiver, but
he's a 2 at best.
That's Amari Cooper. It's Amari Cooper, but that's what went into that.
I think they get poisoned by that 88 number. The Cowboys really do. They really put that number on somebody and think it's just gonna channel that Michael Irvingness or something, and it just does not pan out. Like, I don't know, maybe that number needs to come off the field or something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's now.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.